Good morning, dear students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. Today we are starting our lectures, first lecture. Before starting first lecture, we need to recap the previous or 11th standard syllabus. So let's start first. We need previous year syllabus. The first topic you are seeing on screen, types of business. Business can be divided in two parts. First, on the basis of activities or work, and second, on the basis of ownership. On the basis of activities or work, a business can be divided in three parts: trading business, manufacturing business, and service business. On the basis of ownership, business can be divided in five parts. The first is sole proprietorship, second partnership, third company, fourth HUF, and fifth cooperative organization. So we needed to know about what is the trading business, what is the manufacturing business, and what is the service business. Every businessman operate these three business: trading business or manufacturing business or service business. So here we are discussing about the trading business. What is the trading business? In trading business, a person purchase finished goods and sell it after adding his or her profit to the customers. That is called the trading business. In the market, all the seller, all the shopkeepers are operating the trading business. I hope you understand trading business. The second is manufacturing business. The person who produce the goods and services and after adding his or her profit sell to the customers. That is called the manufacturing. Suppose a Samsung Limited company. Samsung Limited company manufactures the Samsung mobiles, TVs, laptops, and so many more. That is called the manufacturing business. And the third business is a service business. In service business, there is no kind of goods. Here only a person provides services to the customer. For example, a doctor provides health services to the patient. A school provide education services to the students. These are the service business organization. In the world, a businessman can operate only out of these three business. The first, trading business, he may be operate manufacturing business, he may be operate service business, or he may be operating trading business. I hope you understood properly. Secondly, on the basis of or accounting basis, we need to on the basis of ownership. On the basis of ownership, a business can be divided in five parts: sole proprietorship, second partnership, third company, fourth HUF business, and fifth cooperative organization. HUF business and cooperative organization are not in our syllabus. Okay, so we needed to discuss about the sole proprietorship, partnership, and company. So about the sole proprietor business, you have already discussed in 11th standard. Or about the partnership and companies accounts, we will discuss in the 12th year syllabus, in the current year syllabus. Okay, so first need sole proprietor business. In sole proprietor business, there is only one person. The owner is only one person. Whatever profit or loss accrued or obtained by the firm is solely authorized the person who is the person. All the profit or all the loss of sole proprietor is for the owner. So about the sole property accounts, you have discussed in previous year syllabus. As a final account, we mentioned trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. Now we are discussing about the partnership. In the partnership, the profit of the business is not for the single person. The profit for the business, not for the single person. The profit will be distributed among the partners after appropriation of profits. So partners account firstly maintain trading account to find out the gross profit. Secondly, prepare trading profit and loss account to find out net profit or net loss. And later on, after profit and loss account, a newly opened account profit and loss appropriation account is prepared to distribute the profit and losses among the partners and appropriation of profit and losses. We will discuss in this chapter. And the company, about the company we will discuss in the second part. Okay, so I hope you understood about the types of business. Later on, now we will discuss about our syllabus. So first need to study chart. How the first chapter we will be complete. So study charts on in the screening. The all study chart about this chapter is divided in 5 parts. The first is introduction of partnership. What is the partnership? What are the features and properties of the partnership? About this. The second is the distribution of profit and losses. How the distribute profit and losses of the firm will be distributed among the partner and appropriation of the profit and losses. The third is partners capital accounts. How the partners capital account is prepared, and later on past if any kind of mistake has been done in the accounts, how it will be rectified. And the fifth point is guarantee to the partner. The first chapter is divided in these 5 parts. Introduction of partners basic concept. Second is the distribution of profits and losses. Third is the partners capital accounts. Fourth is the past adjustment, and fifth is the guarantee to the partner. Today in this video we will discuss about the introduction of partnership. About the partnership, what is the partnership, where, how can we decide is there partnership or not. Let's start right now. So first topic is the meaning of partnership. Listen carefully and you are seeing on the screen properly. The meaning of a partnership: when two or more persons are agreed to share profits of a business organization and business is carried on by all or any of them acting for all, called as partnership. Understand? Most important points is there. The person who enters in the partnership firm individually called partner, and partners are collectively called firm, and the name by which they operate their business is called the firm name. Let's start. For example, in a firm there are 4 partners, A, B, C, D. Are you seeing on the screen? In a partnership firm there are 4 partners, A, B, C and D. These all partners individually, Mr. A, who is the Mr. A? Mr. A is the partner of the firm, Mr. B is the partner of the firm, Mr. C is the partner of the firm, or Mr. D is the partner of the firm. But the collectively grouped these, that will be called firm. So partners are collectively called, all the 4 A, B, C and D, 4 collectively called the firm. And the name here you mentioned Fashion Garments. The name of firm is a Fashion Garment. This name is called the firm's name. I hope you understand properly. Okay. Second, definition of partnership. First, try to understand meaning and definition. Both are the different terms. Meaning can be right in own words, what we have understood, but definition can be written in the same author's word. It cannot be changed in. Okay. So meaning, that's we have discussed in the previous topic here. When 2 or more persons are agreed to share profits of a business organization and business is carried on by all or any of them acting for all, termed as a partnership. Okay. The partner who enter in the partnership firm is called the partner. Partners collectively called the firm, and by the name by which they operate their business is called the firm name. Here now we will discuss about the definition of partnership. Definition of partnership given according to section 4 of the Partnership Act 1932. So first question is, in which section definition of partnership is mentioned? So your answer will be according to section 4 of Indian Partnership Act 1932. What is the definition of partnership according to section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act 1932? Partnership is the relationship between two or more persons, minimum two or maybe more. Two or more persons who have agreed who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. That is the definition. You have to learn it in the same words. We cannot change the definition. Is it clear? I hope you understood the meaning and a definition. What the difference between the meaning and a definition? Is it clear to all? Good. The next topic we will discuss features of partnership. Now I am sharing the 6 features of partnership form. If any one absence of these 6, there will not be the partnership. There will be no partnership. So what are the features? Features, we can say also properties, elements, and characteristics of the partnership. Is it clear? Features, properties, elements, and characteristics of the partnership form. So first topic is the two or more persons. Here, there must be at least 2 persons to form a valid partnership. Minimum partner must be 2, because a single person cannot be partner to of other. Okay, that's why for the partnership firm there must be at least 2 persons. Partnership Act does not specify the maximum number of persons, while the Indian Companies Act 2013 restricts the number of partners to 50. Here there are 2 questions. What is the minimum number of partners in a firm? So your answer will be 2. What is the second question? What is the maximum number of partners? Then your answer will be 50. Who decides the maximum number of partners? So your answer will be Indian Companies Act 2013. The student here mentioned the wrong answer. Sometimes they mentioned Indian Partnership Act 1932. Indian Partnership Act 1932 does not specify the maximum number of partners, while Indian Companies Act 2013 specify the maximum number of partners in a firm. Is it clear? The maximum number of partners cannot exceed the number of partners prescribed by Companies Act 2013, which is 50 in any kind of business, whether banking business or whether non-banking. Banking business where the work is relating to the finance, and non-banking where the work other trading or manufacturing. Understood? Good. So in first point we have almost 5 questions. The first is, what is the minimum number of partners? Your answer will be 2. What is the maximum number of partners? Your answer will be 50. Who decides the maximum number of partners in a firm? Your answer will be Indian Companies Act 2013. Is it clear? And the partners, maximum number of partners may be 50 in all kind of the business, whether banking business or non-banking business. I hope understood the first point. The second point, most important first point here, if in a firm the number of partners more than 50, the partnership firm will be illegal. Note the point. If in a firm the number of partners more than 50, the firm will be illegal. Is it clear? Now we will discuss about the second point. The second point is agreement. You are seeing in the screen the important point. Partnership is the result of an agreement. Without agreement, partnership cannot be exist. So here partnership is the result of an agreement. It must come into existence by an agreement. Agreement either in written or maybe in oral among the partners. Okay, agreement may be in writing or maybe oral, and a note by the operations of the law. Try to understand that. Suppose Mr. Jagdish, who have four sons. Mr. For example, try to understand. Mr. Jagdish is a person, okay, who operate the business. He has four sons: Mr. Ram, Mr. Syam, Mr. Mohan, Mr. Rohan. Mr. Jagdish died in a car accident. After the death of Mr. Jagdish, the business is continue carried on by all the son of Mr. Jagdish, Ram, Syam, Mohan, and Rohan. Can we say Ram, Syam, Mohan, and Rohan are partners? They are not partners because they have business. They are sharing profit and losses of the business also, but they are not partner because they have not operate. They don't have agreement. They don't have an agreement. Without agreement, partnership cannot be in the existence. Is it clear? On the contrary, a Hindu undivided family comes into existence by the operation of law, not by an agreement. The written agreement among the partner is called partnership deed. The agreement forms the basis of mutual right and duties of the partnership. Agreement is dependent on mutual rights and duties relating to the partners. Is it clear? Here in country, Mr. Ram, Syam, Mohan, and Rohan are operating the business as per the Hindu undivided family ancestor, not the agreement. Is it clear? So here Ram, Syam, Mohan, and Rohan are not the partner. They operate Mr. Jagdish business on the basis of Hindu undivided family business essential. Is it clear? So if any kind of question relating to this asked in your examination, you can answer the particular question. Without agreement, partnership cannot be formed. Here, all the four partner Ram, Syam, Mohan, and Rohan are not the partner because there is no an agreement among the partners, among the sons. Is it clear? This is the second. First point is the two or more persons. The second point is the agreement. The terms and conditions relating to I have discussed here. Now we will discuss about the third point, existence of business and profit motive. What is the third point? Existence of business and profit motive. Among the partners have a good business and the motive of business must be profit earning. Here, a partnership can be formed for the purpose of carrying on some legal business with the intention of earning profit. A joint ownership of some property by itself cannot be called a partnership. Let's try to understand the example. Mr. Ram, Mr. Ganesh, and Mr. Dinesh. These are three persons. They operate a guest house. As you know, guest house target is not for earning profit. Guest house target that is called a NPO organization. The main target of NPOs are not for earning profit, while they provide health and wealth services to the society. Here, Ram, Syam, and Dinesh they have an agreement, but we cannot say them to the partner because they have not the profit earning business. So here the first condition, they must have a business, and business man aim is to be earning profit. Is it clear? Suppose here Ram, Ganesh, and Dinesh operate a hotel business. So as you know that what is the target of operating hotel business? To earning the profit. If Ramesh, Ganesh, and Dinesh operate hotel business, they will be called partner. They will be called partner. But if they are operating guest house business, we cannot say them partner. So here, if they are operating guest house business, they cannot be called partner. While if they are operating any profitable business like hotel, or any other shops, whatever, so they can be called partners. So I hope you understand the particular point. The one important point, Ramesh, Ganesh, and Dinesh. These are the three partners. Is it clear? They purchase a piece of land for rupees 5 crore. Suppose Ramesh, Ganesh, and Dinesh, they purchase a piece of land. Can we say they are partner? So your answer will be no. They are not partner while they are the joint owner of a property. While they are the joint owner of the property. If purchasing and selling of a land, if purchasing and selling of a land is their business, he can be called the partner. He can be called the partner. I hope you understand the particular concept. This is the third important point. Existence. So there must have a legal business, and business mm, motive is profit earning. Is it clear? Good. The next point, fourth point, sharing of profit. All the partners must have to share profit of the firm. If any partner who does not participate in the profit, if any person who does not participate or does not share profit of the firm, he will never be a partner of the firm. So the important point is the sharing of profit. Every partner has to share the profit of a business. Here, an agreement between the partners must be aimed at sharing the profit. If some persons join hands to run some charitable activities, it will not be called partnership. Further, if a partner is deprived of his right to share the profit of the business, he cannot be called as a partner. It may be agreed upon by the partner that one or more of them shall not be liable for it. Most important is every partner has to share the profit of the firm. If any partner who does not share the profit of the firm, he will never be partner. But it is not important he will share loss. As per agreement, one or more of them shall not be liable for losses as per an agreement. Let's try to understand by the example. There is an Hotel Mexico. One is Hotel Mexico. Okay. They have three partners. Mr. John, second Mr. Axel, and third Mr. Rock. These are three partners. Mr. John, Mr. Axel, and Mr. Rock. If all these three partners share the profit of Hotel Mexico, they will be called a partner. But here, John participate in the profit, Axel participate in the profit, Rock not participate in profit. That's why not be a partner. Mr. Rock is not a partner of firm because he does not share the profit of the firm. If Mr. Rock also share the profit of the business, in that condition, all these three partners, John, Axel, and Rock, will be called a partner. Okay, but it is not sure that every partner must have to share the loss. Some one or more partner, as per agreement, they can deprive the losses condition to other partners. Okay, but profit sharing is the most important point. If any one partner who does not participate in the profit of the firm, he will never be partner. It is not compulsory to share the loss. It is dependent on their agreement. I hope the fourth point you understood properly. Now we will discuss about the fifth point. The point is the business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. It means that each partner can participate in the conduct of business. All the partners have a right to conduct the business activities. and each partner is bound by act of other partners in respect to business of the firm. Every partner has right to conduct the business activities, and every partner can bind other partner for his act. If suppose we are understanding with example, Mr. A person, Mr. B also a person, Mr. C is also a person. These three partners A, B and C, these three partners have a right to conduct the business activities. No one can bound, no one can neglect of his this right. The second point is, suppose here Mr. A deal with a businessman, outsider business. Okay, A can bound Mr. B and Mr. C for his act, as well as Mr. B can bound Mr. A and Mr. C, as well as Mr. C can bind Mr. A and Mr. B. If any partner do any kind of business activity, then he can bind to other partner for his act. Is it clear? So the point number fifth is clear. Business carried on by all, whether all the person are participating in the business continue, or as per agreement, one they can decide only one person that he will be care. Suppose here A, B and C, these are three partners. C has no time for business, B has also, so they can as per agreement decide about the A. A will operate the business activities here. Okay, for this purpose Mr. A get additional remuneration like salary, commission, bonus, etc. But the profit can be divided all three, A, B, C. Okay, all the partners will say the profit of the business A, B and C. But here A will get something additional, salary, commission, remuneration, because he is conducting the business activities, while B and C are not conducting the business activities. So here all the partners have right. Mr. A can work, Mr. B can work, Mr. C can work, Mr. A, B and C. All three partners can participate in business activities. But suppose someone have no time here, A, B and C have no time for business activities. So they decided as per agreement to Mr. A will operate the business activities. For this purpose, Mr. A will get additional salary, commission, bonus, etc. Is it clear? So here A are working for B and C and for himself. I hope understood. Good. And the last sixth point, relationship of principal and agent. Relationship of a principal and agent. All the partners have principal and agent rights. Every partner is a principal and every partner may be agent. How? Each partner is an agent as well as a partner of the firm. How? Try to understand with example. A, B and C. These are three partners. Suppose A make an agreement for purchasing of goods from the third party. Mr. A make an agreement for purchasing of goods from third party. In this condition, Mr. A can bind to Mr. B. Mr. A can bind to Mr. C for his act. In this condition, Mr. A is an agent. In this condition, Mr. A is an agent, and Mr. B and Mr. C are principal. Okay, Mr. A is an agent because he can bind the other partner for his act. So Mr. A can bind here B and Mr. C for his act. That's why Mr. A is an agent and Mr. B and Mr. C is the principal. Suppose these are three partners A, B and C. Mr. C make an agreement with any third party. Here Mr. B can bind Mr. A for his act. Mr. C can bind his to Mr. B for his act. In this condition, Mr. C is an agent and Mr. A and B are the agent. Mr. A and B are the principal. Are you understand properly? Good. Now, the most important features of partnership firm we have discussed. The first is the two or more persons. The second is the agreement. Third is the existence of business and profit motive. Fourth is the sharing of profit. Fifth is the business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. And sixth is the relationship of principal and agent. If absence of any one feature of partnership, there will never be partnership. In the absence of a one feature of out of these six features, there will not be partnership. Is it clear to? Okay. Now we will discuss about the next important concept, that is partnership deed. Try to understand what is the partnership deed and how it works. Since partnership is the outcome of an agreement, we have discussed in the previous topic feature of partnership comes partnership comes into existence by an agreement. Without agreement, there will no be partnership. It is essential that there must be some terms and conditions agreed upon by all the partners. Whenever we are making an agreement, so some terms and conditions may be there among the partners. The law does not make it compulsory to have a written. According to law, it is not compulsory, it must be in written. Either it may be in oral or it may be in writing. It is not compulsory, maybe writing or maybe in oral. But however, in the order to avoid all misunderstanding and disputes in the future, maybe in future some kind of misunderstanding or disputes, it is always the best course to have a written agreement duly signed and registered under the act. That's why written agreement is the best course, because in future any kind of the misunderstanding and disputes arise, then we can solve according to the agreement. Okay, so important point, partnership deed either be oral or maybe in writing, but best course is the writing. So in future any kind of misunderstanding and dispute happens, we can sort out. Okay, now the next point is the partnership deed is, what is the partnership, the definition or meaning of the partnership. The partnership deed is a written acknowledgement or documents among the partners which contains all the terms and conditions of agreement. All the terms and conditions of agreement. It is also called articles of partnership. A partnership deed should contain the following points. What the terms and conditions we mention, what are the contents of partnership deed that we mention in the partnership deed. Here the first point is the name and address of the firm. Second, name and address of the partners. Third, name and place of the business. Fourth, duration if in your partnership, for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, how long the partnership will be continued. That is duration of the partnership time period. Fifth point, amount of capital to be contributed by each partner. How much amount every partner will be contributed in the firm. About the capital of the partner. Whether interest is to be allowed on capital. If so, the rate of interest. What interest will be applicable if interest on capital will be allowed to the partner. The seventh point, how much amount the partner entitled to withdraw for personal use. Are the partner allowed or not? Or if allowed, how much amount they can withdraw for personal use from the firm. Amount of this. Next, whether interest will be charged on partners drawing. If so, the rate of interest. interest on drawing will be charged or not? If charged, what will be the rate of interest? Next, profit sharing ratio of the partners. Next, interest on loan. If any partner gives a loan to the firm, if any partner gives a loan to the firm, what interest rate will be applicable or charged? If a firm gives loan to the partner, in that condition, what interest will be charged? What rate of interest will be charged? Next, whether partner salary or commission. If any partner is allowed for salary, commission, bonus, or remuneration or not. If so, what is the amount? That's next, methods of valuation of goodwill and assets, accounting period of the firm and duration of the partnership, rights and duties of the partners, how disputes will be settled. In future, if any kind of disputes or misunderstanding happen among the partners, in that condition, how will be settled out it? Next, rules to be allowed in case of admission and settlement of accounts or retirement or death of a partner. In case any new partner is admitted, or if any partner retire from the firm, or in case if any partner died, how the accounts of the firm will be settled. About these all terms and conditions, these 15 conditions are mentioned in the partnership deeds. So in future, we can solve out any kind of misunderstanding and disputes. Good, understood? Okay. What are the benefits of the partnership deed? Partnership deed in writing. Suppose, as we discussed in the previous topic, the partnership deed either may be in writing or may be in oral, but the best course is in writing. What are the benefits in writing? If we have partnership deed in writing, what will be the benefit among the partners? So first, it regulates the rights, duties and liabilities of each partner. All the partners have rights, duties and liabilities. These all the rights, duties and liabilities are mentioned in the partnership deed. Second, it helps to avoid any misunderstanding among the partners, because all the terms and conditions of partners have been laid down beforehand in the deed. All the terms and conditions relating to the partnership have been written down on the partnership. That's why we can easily solve out or avoid the misunderstanding and disputes. And the third point, any dispute amongst the partners may be settled easily, as the partnership may be readily referred to. As a proof, we can present partnership deed. So all the disputes and misunderstandings can be solved easily. Is it clear? Hence, it is always best course to have a written partnership deed duly signed by all the partners and registered under the Act. Now, we have discussed about 3 topics. First, meaning of partnership. The second is the definition of partnership. Third is the features, elements, properties and characteristics of the partnership. Next, fourth, partnership deed. And now, contents including in whatever we are including in the partnership, and what are the benefits of the partnership deed, we have discussed here. Now, as a practical portion, now we will discuss one more important topic here, that is the rules applicable in the absence of a partnership deed. Suppose we have not maintained any written agreement. Suppose we have not maintained any written partnership deed. So in that condition, how the accounts will be settled for the partnership among the partners? So here these are the rules which will be applicable in the absence of a partnership deed. The first rule, profit sharing ratio will be equal. The profit and losses of the firm will be shared equally among the partners, not in their capital contribution ratio. Profit sharing ratio will be equal. All the profit of the firms will be distributed or shared among the partners in equal. Okay. The second point, interest on capital. No interest on capital is to be allowed to any partner. Third point, interest on drawing. No interest on drawing is to be charged to any partner's drawing. Fourth, salary or commission to a partner. No allowed to any partner. No one's salary, commission, bonus, and remuneration will not be allowed to any partner in the absence of partnership deed. And the last point, interest on loan by a partner. Suppose if any partner gives a loan to the firm, suppose any partner, for let's example, try to understand, Mr. A, B, and C. These are three partners, and this is the firm. Okay, Mr. A gives loan to firm rupees 20,000. Okay, Mr. A gives loan to the firm rupees 20,000. On 20,000, Mr. A is allowed to get interest on loan at the rate of 6% per annum. Is it clear? I hope all the topic that we have we have discussed here you understood properly. If any kind of query you are getting, you can ask me by call, by chatting, or other way. Good luck. Most important, watch the video properly and note down all the notes, important notes in your register or in your notebook, and learn it properly. Tomorrow I will share one most important video based on the practical topic. So all these rules and regulations today I have discussed in this video. Try to understand properly. If any kind of mistake you are getting, if any kind of query you are getting, you can ask me now. Okay, good luck. Bye.